Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. That's to my sister, whose birthday it is very shortly. In fact, probably won't do another one before it is her birthday, so I hope she watches this, and there you go. Much love. I think she still believes in the ball. It's very sad. It saddens my heart, because she'll tell her children, grandchildren, etc., and perpetuate the bullshit. I'm not saying you have to have, I'm not saying I'm brave, I'm such a brave person, but you have to have a bit of courage to, you've got to have the mental realization first, and the courage to realize that comes before that, just before that. The courage to disregard what you've been told all throughout your life by people who genuinely believed the situation. These people weren't trying to deceive you. That's the thing. But they had been deceived. So it's a chain of deception that runs quite a few generations now. Who knows how many? All I know is when I was very young, there were people, my elders, who didn't believe in the moon landings and probably questioned the ball, but I don't really know that. But because they hadn't had the constant barrage of bullshit from the television screens, their only real access to the outside world was newspaper and radio as it came in. But again, radio was certainly limited round here because it's very rural, and one thing that a radio needs is a delivery system, just like we have these days, but much more obvious and widespread is the phone masts and everything that they bring. Anyway, that's another subject, and it's a very terrifying one. If you look into, I call it G5. I'm sorry, I meant 5G. Of course, it's a very easy thing slip up to make, but of course, 5G will be in a town near you very shortly, and when that happens, that could be the end of life as we know it. Certainly, the end of life. It makes people sterile. It gives them cancer. Now, if they aren't two very important reasons not to have this bullshit, this new frequency, then tell me more important one, because I don't know it. So we just accept what they say is good for us. We just accept it, do we? Well, I don't think television is good for us, but we all, nearly all of us, had one. And the thing is, when I gave up my television a few years ago, I was hounded by the people who will make you pay the license fee. And they can't understand why you don't have a television, and they think you're trying to get out of paying the fee, and they think you still have a telly, and you're just trying to dupe them. But certainly in my case, that wasn't true. I chucked my telly out. Was very pleased to see it go, I didn't really watch it anyway towards the end, because I'd found out that one, it was a device used by the authorities to program you, and the insipid way that the actual, because mine was a cathode ray tube, that the actual flicker, what it did to you, to your state of mind, put you in an alpha state and made you more receptive to lies, more accepting of nonsense. So when they showed a ball like a globe earth or whatever on the screen, you didn't question it. You just thought, oh, that's where we live. How ridiculous. So yes, so it's sort of say a new year. Certainly a new calendar will be going up. I haven't put mine up yet, but it will be going up probably when I remember this afternoon sometime. But here I am in the same shed, in the same scruffy, worn-out jumper, wearing many clothes because just recently it has turned a bit colder. It wasn't frosty last night. In fact, we had a drop of rain, but it's a thin wind and snow in some parts of the country apparently. But we escaped that. And when I say we, of course, I'm talking about me and my cat. So, just excuse me for a minute. I think that is my kettle boiling. So, I hope people had a nice New Year's Eve. To me, it means very little. I have to comply with the numbers on the calendar, so I do understand. I do realise that it's today, the 2nd of January, 2019. At least this year will have the 19 in it, which is the figure I can't stop writing when I'm thinking of the year, but it's always at the front, like 1971, which was a very good year for music, actually, but there you go. So, I hope everybody had a good time. My idea of a good time is being warm, a little bit of a number going on in the ashtray, and a good selection of music for me to listen to, perhaps, and or even playing. That would be the ideal, but mostly people think it's more fun to go out and get totally slaughtered with alcohol. And I confess that years ago I did do similar things to that, but I haven't really had a drink now for 20 odd years, and I don't miss it in the slightest. In fact, this morning I had to go to a well-known building suppliers, an independent one. Of course, it's only well known if you live round here. And the chap that served me had a black eye, a bust lip, other facial bruising. And I just said, and what does the other fellow look like? And he just smiled and carried on writing my order. But there you go, that's alcohol for you. Yeah. It really, it makes some people aggressive. It makes others stupid, and it makes them all stupid eventually. But it makes you stupid at that point of being drunk, or it just makes you kind of friendly, but maybe over friendly, shall we say? Anyway, it's your choice. You do what the hell you like. I don't care. But what I do care about is ignorance in people. People who still, for obvious reasons, I suppose, believe they're living on a ball. Now, I only say they're obvious reasons because I was once like that. I once thought, very mistakenly, that I lived on a spinning ball, even though I couldn't feel the spin. I never saw the curve. But what I did see was images on my TV screen. And that was all my feeble mind needed. That must be it, because the consensus, because pictures on my telly, because Brian Cox. But if you actually, if you could grow up without the telly, the influence that the television does have on you, and you had to work it out for yourself, there is absolutely no way that you would ever consider a spinning ball. Not a chance. When you go, I mean, I've been up some high, I wouldn't call them mountains, but very high points of view. And of course, I've flown. Well, not of course, but I have flown in big airplanes and small airplanes. And the first time I flew in a big aeroplane, I thought, my God, it's so flat. I couldn't sort of comprehend the distance you could see. And of course, when you're cruising at an altitude, if there is no cloud cover, you can see, well, the horizon is at your eye level from that side of the plane, and if you look out the other side of the plane, it's the same. Which means that you don't live on a ball. But I didn't think of that then, because I was so programmed to think that I was living on a ball. But if you go up, the further you go up from sea level, the horizon line, your eye level, rises with you. Now that is impossible on a ball. You're always on top of the ball. And the other thing that pisses me off, when people, even flat earthers do this, flat earthers, they will draw the curvature of the earth, the presumed but never witnessed, never proved curvature, and they will have you standing, and then the hump will rise up and then go. No, it doesn't work like that. If you're on a ball, if you were on a ball, if we were living on a sphere, you would be at the top of the sphere. Now, that's a very difficult concept for you to understand, possibly, if you're a ball earth believer, because you always think, oh, but the land comes up. Well, yeah, because we're on a flat plane, it's going to do that because of perspective. But there is no hump in front of you, because you look level. When you stand and you look to the horizon, your eyes aren't looking down or up. They're looking directly flat, parallel with the land. Therefore, if you go up in elevation, the horizon line would never follow. It would stay where it is, and you would go up and up and up. And there would be no hump, because you are on the top of the ball. It's just another obvious, and it's so obvious, but it's another obvious, well, not that you need any more proof, I certainly don't. But there you go. Just consider that when you're out next. If you're going to climb a mountain, and if you don't find a canny bag of Tudor at the top, I'm very sorry. But if you do climb a mountain, have a look where if it's by the sea, but it doesn't matter where the horizon line is in your eye, and then when you get to the top of the mountain, if it's a clear day, that's it. Atmospherics can play a big part in this. But if it's a nice clear day, I guarantee that the horizon will be at your eye level. There you go. Anyway, I better go because I've just come in really for a cup of tea, or in my case, of course, a pot of tea. And then I'll be going back out and doing a bit more work. So I hope this year brings good health, good fortune, but more than anything else, I hope it brings knowledge, real knowledge that comes from within through your own observations and experiments. Anyway, sea walls. Goodbye.